Well, I'm known as the Birdman. That's because for the last 29 years I've been supplying birds programs at zoos and parks and aquariums around the country. Now I also run a bird sanctuary outside of Las Vegas called the World Center for Exotic Birds. It's pretty big. It's almost 2 acres of nothing but birds. In fact, we currently take care of almost 1,000 birds total. That includes the birds at our 5 different programs we got going on this summer, but then also our breeding and rehabilitation programs at home. Now today we're going to focus on birds of the Grand Canyon. However, due to federal law, we're not going to be showing the exact species from the area. To use those birds, they have to be injured and non-releasable. Let's get everybody seated very quickly, please. Very quickly. You don't want the birds to mistake anybody else for having food. Well, just grab a seat anywhere. I'll move back for you. There we go. A little distance always helps. I'm not saying she will fly. We just don't want to. We just don't want to have it be the first time to. There she goes. But she's not flying towards anybody. She just thinks that we should be doing more than she's doing. Does that lead to food? No. As long as it doesn't lead to food, then usually after a while they'll write it off as a bad idea. But she was trying to hang on to food in my hand and then also fly off at the same time. That's what that stuck look was. Now, to use native birds, she still thinks she has food. That's the deformed look with the one foot there. There you go. You want to come back all the way up to here and try it my way? Come on. Come on. It's supposed to be a time show. You're wasting everybody's time. You got 4 more birds that are waiting for you. She says, okay, she's going to sit there. She's been in the show for 8 years, so she should know better. But that's fine. We'll let her just sit there. Now, wait, well, we need to keep that door closed now, please. Now, to use native birds in the program, they would have to be injured, non-releasable, and oftentimes not even flighted. So I prefer to use exotic birds, which are almost identical to the birds that actually live here. For example, Kira here is an African auger hawk. But even though she's from Africa, if you look at her from the backside, you'll see she is a type of red-tailed hawk. In fact, there are quite a few different types of red-tailed hawks found around the world. 4 different types are found right here in the United States. In the central states, we have the Harlands and the Kreider's red-tails with white chests. Sir, I need you to exit again, please. Can you go ahead and exit? Thank you. To the east coast, we have the brown or eastern red-tailed hawks. And from here to the Pacific Ocean, we have the very dark western red-tailed hawks. Now, one thing all red-tailed hawks have in common is the fact that they can eat anything from crickets on up to small rabbits if they're lucky enough to catch one. And they have eyesight about 8 times better than ours. Plus, they can soar for about 6 to 8 hours at a time. Now, with all these skills, you would think the red-tailed hawks would be tearing up the skies, but nope. Actually, these birds are known for being the laziest of all the raptors. In fact, their philosophy on hunting is a little more along the lines of finding a perch over an open field, and if you wait long enough, something will eventually just die. It may not be that extreme, but they do find a good perch, and they just park themselves. And what happens is they lower their metabolism so they can afford to sit day after day after day. And eventually, the small animals forget there's a red-tailed hawk around, and they come right out to the open and get pounced. Now, this lazy approach to hunting has worked out very well for red-tailed hawks, and they are now the most commonly seen raptor in all of North America. And spotting them at the Grand Canyon is actually pretty easy. Usually they're up in the air, floating overhead. Once that sunlight hits that bright red tail, it makes for a very easy identification. But sometimes the birds are actually sitting in a tree or down on a cliff or a rock, and maybe you can't make out their colors. Maybe they're even too far away to even see what type of bird it is. Well, we just have to wait for it to take off. Wait, I'm not ready yet. You see, all red-tailed hawks take off with the same basic pattern. It's 5 flaps and a short glide, 5 flaps and a short glide, 5 more flaps and a short glide. Somehow or another, all the wild red-tailed hawks got together and decided that was going to be their official takeoff pattern. But it is very consistent. She stuck herself to the perch with that automatic foot closing there. All right, ready to try it at my direction? Right to here. There you go. See? You just do it my way, it leads directly to food. All right? This is Kira, my African red-tailed hawk. Give her a big hand, everyone.